Buffalo, New York, may be known for its snowy winters, famous wings, and beautiful old buildings. But behind its charm lies a darker side. Many locals and visitors claim they've seen or felt things that can't be explained. Here are some of the most haunted places in Buffalo where history and haunting still walk side by side. Number 1. The Richardson Hotel in Buffalo, New York. Part of the Richardson Olmsted campus is steeped in a dark and unsettling history. It was originally built as the Buffalo State Asylum for the insane, and many believe that its past still lingers in ghostly form. One of the most common tales involves screams echoing through the hallways, especially in the old ward areas. People claim they hear anguished cries or moans from long empty rooms, as though former patients are still trapped in suffering. Another story describes shadowy, human-shaped figures, dark silhouettes pacing or standing in corners, sometimes vanishing when observed. There are also frequent reports of orbs or strange lights seen floating in the abandoned wings, captured in photographs or just glimpsed by guests. Several visitors mention objects moving on their own, such as doors creaking, handles turning, or old furniture shifting as though touched by unseen hands. Number 2. Canisius College in Buffalo, New York, now Canisius University, has a long history, and with that history comes tales that many believe are more than just stories. Around the campus, several places are said to be haunted, and students and visitors over the years have reported truly chilling experiences. One frequently told story happens in Frisch Hall, especially on the 5th floor, where some say the ghost of a former student who committed suicide lingers. In Lyons Hall, on the 4th floor, students report seeing a ghostly nun walking quietly in the dim corridors. Some believe she belonged to the religious traditions that once shaped the college's life, and her spirit still patrols the halls. At Christ the King Chapel, unexplainable voices have been heard coming from confessionals, sometimes whispering, sometimes calling. In the basement beneath the chapel, witnesses claim to have seen the figure of an old man, possibly a priest, standing in the shadows. Then there is the Marie Mate Theater inside Lyons Hall, where a spirit named Marie is rumored to walk the costume room at night. Students say they've heard her footsteps, seen lights flicker, and on one occasion, papers were thrown around even though no one else was present. Number 3. Forest Lawn Cemetery in Buffalo, New York, is far more than a quiet resting place. Its vast grounds, dramatic monuments, and long history have given rise to a persistent sense that something otherworldly lingers among the tombstones. Spread over 269 acres and established in 1849, the cemetery holds the graves of many important figures, such as President Millard Fillmore and the Seneca chief Red Jacket, whose prominent bronze statue stands atop a column near the entrance. One of the most circulated ghost stories involves the apparition of Red Jacket himself. According to local lore, his spirit has been spotted near his monument, as though still delivering his powerful speeches to the living. Some believe that Red Jacket was never truly at rest. There is debate over whether the remains reburied in Forest Lawn are really his. Another tale comes from paranormal investigators who claim that a phantom child hitchhiker sometimes appears near the cemetery's entrance. Witnesses say a small child dressed in old-fashioned clothing asks for a ride, only to vanish when approached. In a related story, there is said to be a barefoot spirit in a white gown, walking among the gravestones at night, a haunting figure seen by some who brave the darkness. One more unsettling story involves audible cries or wails heard near Serenity Falls, a small waterfall on Skyaqua Creek that runs through the cemetery. Though not always connected with a particular spirit, the sound adds a deeply atmospheric layer to the cemetery's haunted reputation. On top of that, investigators say they have captured ectoplasmic forms in photographs, as well as strange energy readings inside what they call a haunted tunnel beneath the ground. Number 4. Buffalo Central Terminal, a grand Art Deco train station in New York, is widely believed to be haunted, and many visitors and paranormal investigators report a chilling presence lingering in its cavernous halls. One of the most often told hauntings involves Rose, a female ghost said to linger in the baggage area on the main floor. According to paranormal reports, she will speak through spirit boxes or EVP devices. But she is selective. She is more likely to respond to women and often remains silent when men are present. Another often told story is about the spirit of former travelers still waiting on platforms long since abandoned. A particularly strange apparition sometimes seen is that of a black cat. Visitors say it appears and then vanishes into thin air in the terminal's decaying corridors. In one eerie moment, a paranormal team member took a photo down a dark hallway on the office floor and later saw the faint shape of a woman far down the corridor. Yet, the floor beyond had collapsed long ago, making it impossible for a living person to be there. Another story involves Anthony Fettel, a former owner of the terminal. He lived in an apartment inside the building, and paranormal groups believe his spirit still haunts the third floor. During investigations, a spirit box device reportedly picked up a voice that said Buffalo, which some think could be Fettel's ghost. Number 5. Shea's Performing Arts Center in Buffalo, New York, is not just a historic theater, but also a place wrapped in whispers of its past. Many people believe it's haunted by its founder, actors, and unseen presences. The most frequent story centers on Michael Shea, the original owner. His apparition is said to appear in a well-dressed suit and mustache, often watching performances from his favorite balcony seat. Some visitors even report hearing his voice say, "Isn't this magnificent?" a phrase he reportedly uttered while surveying the theater. During renovation work, workers have claimed to be praised by an unseen man who matches Shea's description. One especially strange event involves restoration volunteers who moved Shea's portrait, only to have it tilt again later on, as if someone unseen keeps adjusting it. A number of longtime workers have reported hearing laughing voices backstage or in the dressing room corridors, especially late at night when no one is around. There are also reports of disembodied footsteps echoing when the theater is empty, and doors have slammed on their own, even when the building is secured. Number 6. The Iron Island Museum in Buffalo, New York. Once a Methodist church built in 1883 and later converted to a funeral home, is widely believed to be haunted, and many paranormal investigators and tour guides share real, chilling stories about restless spirits that dwell in its old walls. One of the most talked about spirits is Edgar Ziernik, a U.S. Marine whose unclaimed cremated remains were discovered in the museum's basement. Investigators believe his spirit still lingers, drawn back to the place that held his ashes for years. Another spirit described by guides is a shadow man with glowing red eyes. The museum's curator has claimed to feel his presence so strongly that she was afraid he might strangle her. In the attic, a night watchman figure is said to patrol, scolding or shooing people away. Many visitors also report hearing the meow of a ghost cat that seems to appear out of nowhere. Many visitors also report hearing the meow of a ghost cat that seems to appear out of nowhere. On a haunted tour, one group heard a clear meow echoing from the hallway, even though no cat was visible. In the military room, where the museum displays uniforms and artifacts, some paranormal investigators have recorded strange footsteps and even EVPs that sound like mortar or gunfire. Voices that seem to reflect the building's history and the military lives it preserves. Number 7. Buffalo City Hall in New York is more than a striking Art Deco landmark. Many believe it is haunted, and local paranormal researchers have gathered unsettling stories that give the building a deeply strange reputation. According to historian and ghost tour guide, there are frequent reports of shadow figures darting just at the edge of vision, as if ghosts lurk in the corners. Some claim that at night, in the stairwells or office halls, there's a sudden overwhelming feeling of fear or dread, as though unseen presences are watching or waiting. One recurring ghost sound some people claim to hear is a high-pitched, almost animal-like shriek, a pig-like shrieking, that is said to echo from the stairs or hallways, linked by folklore to tortured souls of the past. For many, City Hall is not only a seat of government but a spiritual crossroads, where architecture, history, and memory merge, and where the living sometimes feel that something invisible still lingers. Number 8. Statler City, formerly the Statler Hotel in Buffalo, New York, has a long and eerie reputation. This grand 18-story building, once hosting celebrities like John F. Kennedy and Al Capone, is also often called one of the most haunted spots in the city. One of the most persistent tales is about two small boys who supposedly drowned in the hotel's Turkish bath in its early years. The bath is long since ruined, but ghost hunters say that in the basement near that area they feel a chilling presence, as though the boys never left. There are also stories of apparitions in the ballroom and shadowy figures in the hallways, often witnessed by tour participants who explore the building's upper floors. Staff and guests say they sometimes hear heavy footsteps, as though someone is pacing late at night, or doors opening and closing on their own. During a 72-hour investigation on the TV show, investigators reported strange sensations in the terrace room. One investigator said she felt like she was walking through waves of people, even though the room was empty. Number 9. Buffalo's Naval and Military Park feels haunted to many, not just because of its history, but because of strange, unexplainable stories that people claim happen aboard its ships. The park is home to 3 decommissioned naval vessels: the USS The Sullivans, the USS Little Rock, and the USS Croker, and each one has a reputation for paranormal activity. One of the most famous ghost stories involves the USS The Sullivans, which is named after the 5 Sullivan brothers who died in World War II. Locals and paranormal guides believe George Sullivan's spirit still haunts the destroyer, perhaps burdened by sorrow and loss. Visitors and former workers have reported flickering lights, strange knocks, and even tools, like wrenches, flying off tables, all with no obvious source. In some stories, a shadowy, burned face briefly appears in a hallway. On the USS Little Rock, some people claim to hear phantom footsteps on the deck and voices whispering in the compartments. 2 sailor spirits are often mentioned. One is said to follow female visitors, and another plays little tricks, like tapping or making objects move. The USS Croker, a submarine, has its own ghost, known as John. People who have toured the Croker report sudden cold spots, footsteps in the bunk area, and even feeling like someone is watching them, like a strict guardian from another world. Some female visitors say they feel gentle touches or hairs being pulled, as though John resents non-Navy people being on his sub. Paranormal groups have even investigated all 3 vessels. They recorded Morse code knocking, floating mists, voices, and hatch doors slamming on their own. Number 10. The Ellicott Square Building, completed in 1896, is famous for its massive interior court and its ornate mosaic floor, designed by William Winthrop Kent and James Johnson. People said many ghost stories about the building come from the strange symbols in its mosaic floor. Some people think the design is connected to Masonic or occult rituals, which might be why visitors talk about feeling a kind of ghostly energy. This is more about feeling than seeing actual ghosts. There are claims that at least a dozen deaths were recorded in and around the building between 1895 and 1912, including fatal elevator accidents. These tragedies give the building a tragic aura, and some tenants reportedly see shadows or dark figures in corners or hear unexplained noises in empty offices. The haunted reputation of Ellicott Square Building is rooted in its symbolic design and its early history of accidents. Number 11. The Hotel Lafayette in Buffalo, New York is often described as one of the city's most haunted places, with guests and staff sharing experiences that feel too real to ignore. Many visitors say the moment they step inside, the atmosphere changes, as if the building still remembers everyone who has ever walked its halls. Late at night, footsteps are often heard moving slowly along the wooden corridors, even when no one is staying on that floor. Some guests report gentle knocks on their doors, followed by complete silence and an empty hallway when they check. The old ballroom is known for strange activity. People have seen the figure of a woman in a long, vintage dress walking across the room before vanishing near a corner wall. Staff members who clean the area after events say they feel watched, and a few have heard faint music playing even though all speakers were turned off. The elevators are another source of fear, as they sometimes travel up and down on their own, stopping at floors with no one waiting. In the basement, shadows seem to move on their own, and workers often talk about sudden cold breezes drifting across the room. Some guests describe waking up in the middle of the night to see a cloudy figure standing near their bed, slowly fading as they blink. Others claim they felt their blankets being gently pulled. With so many reports over the years, the Hotel Lafayette continues to be a place where history, mystery, and the unexplained blend together, leaving visitors with unforgettable chills. Number 12. The North Park Theater in Buffalo, New York is often called one of the most haunted places in the city, and many visitors believe the spirits of its long history still linger between the seats and behind the curtains. People say the moment they walk into the theater, they feel a strange heaviness, as if someone unseen is watching from the balconies. Late-night staff members often hear footsteps on the upper levels even when the building is completely empty, and some describe the sound of someone slowly climbing the steps toward the projection booth. One of the most talked about spirits is the shadow of a man who appears near the main stage. Workers have seen him standing quietly as if observing the room, but when they move closer, he fades into the darkness. Projectionists have reported hearing whispered conversations behind them while they are alone, followed by the soft rustling of what sounds like a coat brushing against the floor. Several guests claim that during a movie, they felt someone sit next to them, only to find the seat completely empty when they looked. Others felt their chair gently shake, as if someone kicked it from behind, but no one was there. The old dressing rooms are said to be the most unsettling place in the theater, with lights turning on and off and mirrors fogging up as though someone stood close to the glass. With so many chilling experiences, the North Park Theater remains a place where the past refuses to stay silent, making every visit unforgettable and eerie. Number 13. The Buffalo History Museum in Buffalo, New York is often described as one of the city's most haunted places, with visitors and staff reporting eerie encounters that seem tied to the museum's vast collection of historic objects. Many people say that walking through the quiet galleries at night feels unsettling, as if the past is watching from every corner. Staff members closing the building often hear soft footsteps behind them, only to turn around and find no one there. Some report hearing distant whispers echoing through the hallways, even though the building was locked moments earlier. One of the most chilling experiences comes from the museum's basement storage rooms, where old artifacts are kept. Workers say they feel sudden cold spots and see shadows move between the shelves. A few claim they heard the sound of someone breathing just over their shoulder. The Spirit Room exhibit area is also known for strange activity. Visitors have seen the figure of a woman in old-fashioned clothing standing near the displays before disappearing into thin air. Security guards have shared stories of alarms going off late at night, triggered in rooms where not a single item was disturbed. Some guards say they have watched objects shift slightly on their own or heard the faint sound of a door closing in an empty wing. The grand staircase is another hotspot, where several guests felt an invisible hand gently push their back as they climbed. With so many mysterious occurrences, the Buffalo History Museum remains a place where history feels alive, and the line between the living and the unseen becomes hauntingly thin. Number 14. The Town Ballroom in Buffalo, New York is often described as one of the most haunted places in the city, and many believe the spirits of its long and dramatic past still move through the venue. Once used as a gathering spot during the Prohibition era, the building has seen countless people pass through, and some visitors feel that not all of them ever truly left. Late at night, staff members closing the place often hear footsteps running across the wooden floors, even when the entire hall is empty. Some workers report hearing distant laughter or the clinking of glasses, as if an old party is happening somewhere behind the walls. One of the most unsettling stories comes from musicians who practice on the stage. Several have claimed they spotted a dark figure standing near the back wall, watching silently before disappearing into the shadows. Others felt a sudden cold breeze move past them, followed by the strong feeling of being observed. People walking near the balcony often report hearing whispers or soft humming, even though no one else is there. Backstage is said to be even more active. Some performers talk about seeing a faint silhouette in the dressing room mirrors behind them. Lights turn on and off without explanation, and equipment sometimes shifts slightly on its own. Security guards locking the building say they occasionally hear doors shutting or heavy footsteps walking across the empty main floor. With so many chilling experiences over the years, the town ballroom continues to be a place where history and haunting activity appear to blend, making every visit unforgettable and mysterious.